Channel Z and Knox Brew Hub present Knox Brew Radio and Podcast, an in-depth look at the craft beer scene in Knoxville and the latest craft beer news from around the country and all over the world. Brought to you by First Century Bank, family-owned local banking since 1894. And by longtime friends of the show, Grayson Subaru. Broadcasting live from the Hub in downtown Knoxville every Monday at 6 p.m. And now, kick back and crack one open with local beer's best friends, Zach, Ace, and Stryker.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to Knox Brew Radio and Podcast. This is your host, Zach, as always, joined by my wonderful co-host, Ace, and Mama calls me whatever we feel like calling him this week.
She does not call me that.
What's the worst thing she's ever called you that you can say on the radio?
Actually, I could say anything that she's ever called me on the radio. She doesn't have the devil's tongue that I do.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It's basically just Kevin, but different inflections.
Kevin!
Or probably
Kevin
Dwayne.
Is that your middle name?
Your middle name's
Yes.
Dwayne?
I'll drink to that.
Stryker, my middle name is just regular style Wayne. It doesn't have the emphasis on it.
Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm just Wayne.
Here's what's funny though: is it's Dwayne, but I don't know. I even pronounced it wrong. It's spelled like a one-syllable word. It's spelled like drain, but with a W instead of an
Dwayne.
R.
So just Dwayne.
Okay, so
But
I've
I'm
seen you
Southern,
put-
so Dwayne.
I've seen you put a lot of beers back at one time.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to start calling you Kevin the Drain.
Beautiful.
I was
love
hoping
that.
I'd get a new name tonight, and I was not disappointed.
Well, thanks for being here, and thanks for joining us. As always, we're recording live down here at Knox Brew Hub, 421 Union Avenue. Available live on Channel Z Radio, the next day wherever you get your podcast, and a few days after that, available on YouTube to watch in person. I'm going to wave to you watching on YouTube. Hello.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. Thank you, Cam.
Yeah, you got it.
You inspired me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, we've got a wonderful show today. We've got two wonderful guests from Knox Brew Tours, friends of ours, one driver, one guide. We mentioned last week Knox Brew Tours is back in action, so we thought we would let you all get to know our team a little bit.
Wouldn't we technically then have two drivers, two guides
Well,
on tonight's show?
yeah, sort of, because me and Ace, yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I'm odd man out.
For now. You've probably driven the bus
And
before.
Kevin helps.
Well, before we get started, I want to take a quick shout out to our sponsors, as always, for making the show possible. Grayson Subaru, a wonderful local car dealership that supports the Knoxville beer community in a major way. Also, the community like Farmers Market, Himes Nature Center, they're a great company, and check them out if you're in need of a vehicle. Also, First Century Bank, locally owned, family-owned, downtown bank that we work with here at Knox Brew Hub and Knox Brew Tours. Everybody needs a bank.
Might as well be the best one.
That's right. So a big shout out to First Century.
Yeah, and then a shout out to our Patreon.
Yeah, shout out to our patrons, Ryan Buds of Trivia with Buds, who just hosted a live show with the entire cast of Family Guy.
What?
Really?
Seriously?
Yeah, and he posted about it today, which is amazing.
Dang.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
He got to chat with Mila Kunis, which is the most
Dreamy.
yeah.
She speaks Russian. I was actually watching a clip of that the other day.
She's like from there. But yeah, so
Cannot confirm or deny what you just said.
but yeah, so if you want to join our Patreon, go to patreon.com/KnoxBrewStories. For just $5, you can get access to a bunch of really cool stuff, and then there's some tiers that are a little bit higher if you feel, I don't know, like you want to help us out.
That's
so,
right.
We
If you
love
like us,
we
if you
love you.
really,
Right now,
like
we're
us.
trying to raise money to
We're gonna
send
throw
Candace over the
her off.
edge
Throw her
Yeah.
off a building.
Throw me off a building, please.
Yeah.
with some really strong ropes. We hope.
Yes.
We hope they're really strong. That'll be the plan. Also, I forgot to mention, of course, our awesome video and audio producers, Cam and Clyde.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hello.
Yeah. And once again, Clyde is off camera. I don't try to do it, but I need to get there. He
And
is.
the thumb.
He's there.
We're gonna have to get the Clyde cam.
Yeah. I try to get Stryker and Ace in the same angle, but then I also have to get me in the angle.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then, he just sits over here. But he's very nice. And he bathes regularly. Like, it's not,
Or at least on Mondays.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's dive straight into this week's Brew News. This is a fun story, and this came out about a week ago, and this is a big news for Tennessee, the entire state of Tennessee.
Hit us with it, Zach.
The Tennessee State Senate passed Bill 177, that has been amended that will start to allow breweries to producing 25,000 barrels or less annually to self-distribute up to 1,800 barrels statewide.
That is actually
All right.
huge.
This is big news. This will go into effect October 31st.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Whoa.
And any brewery that does less than 25,000 barrels will be able to self-distribute across the entire state of Tennessee.
So, like, the bulk of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of us that aren't,
Familiar with
really
that
big-
size. That's
yeah.
pretty much every brewery in Knoxville. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that some breweries still already have a agreement with a distributor.
Right.
This does not null and void that agreement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't automatically mean that brewery will be able to distribute depending on the terms of their distributor. But if they're self-distributed, they'll be able to go anywhere in the whole state. For me, I'm excited that we've yet to have a tri-hop beer on at the hub because they can't distribute across
county lines.
November 1st, we'll have a keg of their beer at the hub.
So how
Love
does that
that.
work if like one brewing company has multiple brewing locations? Like for example, Smoky Mountain Brewery, would their would
Great
that
question.
be a total?
Yeah, so you can actually self-distribute amongst your company through what's called a bond, basically.
Okay.
So there is a Smoky Mountain Brewery location in Sevier County and one in Knox County. They can exchange beers within their company.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering if like that 25,000 barrel threshold is that cumulative among
They
all
might
the
actually-
locations?
That I don't know, but it's probably as a whole brewery, and they might actually do more than 25,000 barrels. Last I checked, Smoky Mountain Brewery was the 4th largest brew pub concept in the United States.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Pretty substantial,
That-
yeah.
I did not know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned something today.
Hey.
So yeah, that's going to be making a difference for some of our breweries. For some of them, it won't. But this is a step in the right direction for our breweries to be able to distribute across the state.
Absolutely,
That is
more opportunity
badass.
for all. It's definitely a step in the right direction.
I'll drink to that.
I will drink to that.
Cheers.
I'll drink beers from all kinds of counties to that
That's right.
come November.
To our wonderful audience listening in, this is a drinking show. Feel free to join us. All right, what do you got, Ace?
All right. Well, Food and Wine Weekly published today that Molson Coors is discontinuing 11 beers. CEO Gavin Hattersley explains that after an extensive analysis of their portfolio, they are looking to streamline and bring more premium brands to their lineup. On the chopping block are the ice beer brands that became popular in the 90s, like Keystone Ice and Mickey's Ice, as well as several light beers such as Miller High Life Light and Ham Special Light.
I didn't even know there was a Miller High
I know.
Life Light.
Honestly, neither did I. So maybe it's a good thing that they're just thinning the herd.
I didn't know ice beer was still a thing.
I but
I mean, I'm very familiar with Smirnoff Ice.
that's true.
But that's not
I don't
beer.
think it's the same. I don't think
Yeah,
it's the same.
no.
Those ice beers are very popular in the punk community because they're like $1 and they are stronger than they should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, they were popular among raft guides when they first came out because, well,
Same reason.
yeah, same reasons.
Well, here's hoping that they go ahead and cancel some of the seltzers they also had in the pipeline.
That would be
Oh,
nice.
Fingers crossed. Which
crossed.
is a perfect segue to that damn seltzer report.
And thankfully, it's a brief one this week. But last week we talked about how some projections did not even come close to hitting the mark, and some of the companies of the bigger segment or the bigger varieties in the segment were losing some money on it. So
Yeah.
all the headlines were like seltzer is dead, and all the great puns and everything they put in there. Well, it's not quite over yet. In fact, in the war of the seltzers, a brand new Warhead has launched this weekend.
No.
But first, I want to follow up on what we talked about last week. Is it over? A lot of analysts on Wall Street are saying, heck no. What drove the segment to begin with was health and wellness and convenience, and they're trying to talk about the low calories and low carbs and all and gluten-free aspects of seltzer, and they even put it in the slim cans.
Yeah.
Smart marketing, and they say that it's actually got room to grow double digits from where it is now. Now that doesn't mean that every brand
will.
is going to,
But the overall category.
still has a lot more room to grow.
Wow.
But as to the Warhead I was speaking of,
Oh, no.
for grown-up 90s kids, Warhead's parent company, Impact Confections, has teamed up with Saratoga Springs, New York-based brewery Artisanal Brew Works
Shut up.
on a range of official Warheads spiked seltzer.
Okay, fine. All right. I hate to say it, but I think they might have got me there. Okay.
So wait, now we've got sour seltzers.
So coming in 5 different flavors, Artisanal Brew Works describes the alcoholic beverages as sweet, slightly tart, and they're unlike any hard seltzer you've had before. The collaborative drink was made to replicate the transition of sour to sweet that's synonymous with the Warhead's candy brand.
Yeah.
This is
black
the-
cherry. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is the second seltzer candy company collab
Yes.
we've reported on.
But this is hard alcohol?
Yes, it's hard seltzer.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But they have the black cherry, lemon, blue raspberry, green apple, and watermelon Warheads spiked seltzers come in very reminiscent packaging, and they contain 5% alcohol and are gluten-free. The official Warhead spiked seltzers are available now at Artisanal Brew Works tap room or at select distributors in California, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey.
All right.
Now, the disclaimer here is what I was getting ready to tag
Uh-oh.
on.
Yeah.
It says we discourage irresponsible and/or underage drinking. Drink responsibly and legally. I mean, you're taking literal candy brands
Yeah.
and turning them into alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
So
And that's confusing. I mean,
it can be.
You
I
also
think-
have like the hard root beers when those first came out. I remember there was a woman I was talking to who
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, we got it for our kids up at the lake one
It was,
day, and they drank those." And
And boy, howdy, did they go to bed early?
Was it? It was the Not Your Father's.
Not Your
Root Beer?
yeah,
Father's.
it's not your
Yeah.
father's. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when that came out. That was a big selling thing, but that fizzled out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's crazy.
Also, Cam looks like he's ready to like jump out of his skin at this. What's going on, Cam?
I want this so
Me too.
bad.
Me too.
This is
Okay.
Road trip?
Okay. So how
Road
about this?
trip?
Artisanal Brewing, if you're listening, send a
Sample pack.
Yes.
to
Please and
421 Union Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee 37902.
Yeah.
And we'll do a tasting of it on the radio show.
absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
because Lord knows I love a good hard seltzer tasting.
And you know I'm going to reach out to them after
Yeah,
this.
you should. Please do. Please do. All right, folks, that's it for this week's
Brew
Brew News. We're going to take one little quick break because we love beer, but we also love music. When we come back from this break, we will be joined by our wonderful guests, Seth McCormick and Jacob C. from Knox Brew Tours. Looking forward to chit-chatting and hanging out with them and having a beer with them as well. We'll also be doing a tasting of their favorite beer, so be on the lookout in just a few minutes. Mama calls me Kevin. What are we listening to today?
Today we've got a brand new song from the band Royal Blood. This is from their forthcoming album. This song is called Typhoons on Channel Z. Thanks for listening to Knox Brew Radio.
I love Royal Blood. Seriously.
Let's dive into our interview this week. I'm, as always, thrilled to be joined by wonderful people.
Hi.
I'm loving the smiles going on right now at this table. How's everybody doing?
Nervous, yeah.
You're nervous?
Terribly, yeah.
Y'all are
not
going to do
nervous.
great.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fine. All right, to my left, we have the wonderful person and guide for Knox Brew Tours, Seth McCormick. Seth, how you doing, bud?
I'm great. I'm waving to the audience. They're just looking at me like I'm stupid. It's working out. It's working out. I love it.
And to the left of Seth, we have one of our very reliable drivers.
Hey,
Always willing to work and does a great job, Jacob C. Jacob, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Peachy.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you guys have any idea or expectations for the next 20 minutes? Like,
No.
Have you listened to an episode of this show yet?
No.
Yes.
Zero research.
That's perfect. That's what we want. Well, you guys actually picked a beer. So we'll dive into these beers and drink them here in just a second. But really quick, tell everybody what your role is professionally in the brewing community here in Knoxville, and then also what you do outside of that as well.
Yeah, so I'm a guide with Knox Brew Tours. I'm just a bit of a liaison and in between the brewers and the brew hub here, and then the greater populace of Knoxville that's going out and enjoying the beers that these people are making. So it's a really unique experience. I love it a lot. Outside of that, I'm a law student at the University of Tennessee. I don't have as many nice things to say about that.
Cool. So I am a driver with Knox Brew Tours. I've been with the company for a little over almost 2 years now. Outside of Knox Brew Tours, I also work at Print Shop as a bartender. And out in the real world, if you will, I am a professional musician and educator.
But not just any professional musician. What would you say is your discipline?
So let's just describe it in a different way. I teach people to make fart sounds for a living through low brass.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
It's good times.
I saw a meme today that said, "When I think my fart is going to be silent,"
Tuba.
and then it showed a picture of a bald guy with a goatee wearing a button-up with flames on it, just blowing as hard as he could into a tuba. So
That's me, baby. That's me.
I just want to have a deep voice competition
with
between
you and Jacob.
Stryker.
Let's roll, baby.
He wins. I want to enroll, but I don't know if I can do it.
Well, thank you both for everything you've done for Knox Brew Tours. It's been weird. We basically took a year off and didn't see each other for a while, and I missed you all very much. And I'm very excited and happy to get things rolling again and have you all back in the team and to doing what we do best, which is telling people about Knoxville beer. Mm-hmm. Since we do that for a living, let's just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
We do a tasting every single show, and since we're not representing any brewery, we just picked your all's favorites. So let's start off with the Schultzbräu Dunkel, I believe we have here in front of us. Who picked this one?
I did, yeah. It was me.
Seth, tell us why you chose the Schultzbräu Dunkel.
I've got a pretty long-winded explanation for this one. It's really just because it's delicious.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Schultzbräu, owned by the Schultz family, just north Knoxville.
Yeah.
And this Dunkel, when we got it on tap, I took a sip of it and said it was perfect. Very true to style and very German.
Yeah, I'll say, honestly, I do love all Schultzbräu's beers. They remind me of, like what brief time I spent in Europe drinking beer over there. And of course, it's authentic. They are German. And I just think it's just such a comforting kind of thing for me. And that's why I really like their beer.
And strangely enough, that's actually where I met Seth and was like, "Hey, you should be a tour guide with us.
Yeah.
You should do this."
Yeah, that was weird. It was honestly really weird. But I'm glad it worked out. I mean, things are going well, yeah.
Perfect. Well, cheers. Let's raise a glass to Schultzbräu Brewing Company. Cheers, y'all. And the Dunkel.
And one of the best beer gardens in America, according to Men's Health
It is
magazine.
absolutely beautiful out there. And a good, nice weather day is a great spot to hang out. All right, Jacob, what did you pick for us to sip on?
Picked Alliance's Cubano Coffee Brown.
Oh yeah.
Yes, which if you listen to last week's show, not you, just people listening in general, we featured that last week when we had Kate. It's a very popular beer. If you like coffee,
It's tasty.
It's cold, it's steeped in there and delicious.
It's a
Cheers.
little coffee for my head.
I feel like, oh man,
Well,
I should just shoot these.
You're
Let's,
double-fisted over here.
Raise a glass and toast to Alliance Brewing
to the
Company.
south side.
Cheers.
That's right.
Cheersies.
All right, let's dive into a little bit more about Jacob and Seth.
Oh, boy.
Let's start with you, Jacob.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I am a Knoxville native.
Yeah, so you were born in Knoxville.
I was. Yes,
and have
many
you
moons ago.
lived most of your life here?
I have, actually, yes.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Knox Central and graduated in 2007.
And then went into. Did you always want to be a band instructor?
Oddly enough, no. I wanted to be a nutritionist when I graduated high school.
What changed?
I took a chemistry course. I was like, uh-oh, not good. Change.
I thought you were going to say you found beer, but
Yes.
When is the beginning of your beer story?
So the ripe old age of 21, I took my first alcoholic beverage, said no one in the beer industry.
But on paper.
Yeah.
So, no, I've always been a big beer fan ever since I started drinking. And
Do you remember your first?
yeah, my first beer was actually a Budweiser,
Hey.
the old red label. Yeah.
Same. Cheers.
Yeah.
Bud.
Bud.
Why? Sorry, I couldn't help
Yeah.
myself.
No, that was my first beer. I thought it was horrible. Not going to lie. And then I was like, there's got to be something better out there. So
Yeah.
I kept drinking other beer. And lo and behold, now here we are.
Now here you
Sooner
are.
or later, you found one.
That's right.
What do you recall what led you to being a part of the team in Knox Brew Tours?
Yeah, actually, my buddy Donnie invited me on a brew tour on December 28th of 2018. And that was my father's birthday, and I canceled my plans with my father to go on a brew tour. Sorry, Dad. Yeah. So I went on the brew tour,
You
and I
didn't
was
even
like,
invite him? Hard.
well, there's also
It wasn't his tour to
Yeah.
invite, yeah.
That's true. It was Donnie's.
I remember this tour.
Oh.
Because we went to Schultzbräu after for like
Yes.
an hour and a half
Yeah.
and played a drinking game.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah.
Yes. You remember the infamous fries of one of the patrons?
I don't remember fries.
Yeah, so We'll talk about that one.
Okay.
Oh, talk about it now.
I want to know the fries joke.
Yeah, I want to know the fry story.
So one of the participants on this brew tour, well after the brew tour, she partook in a little more alcohol.
Yeah,
And
as you do.
she and her husband stopped at Wendy's to get some fries. And she proceeded to throw out all of the ones that were too crunchy into the back seat of the car. And the next morning she woke up and got to her car and she's like, why are there all these fries? And her husband was like, well, honey, you were angry because these were too crunchy. So, yeah.
And do you call her fries to this day?
No.
Okay.
I call her
Missed
by her
opportunity.
actual name.
Okay. Well, I mean,
she would
that's
punch
polite.
me otherwise. She's mean.
Yeah.
Not really. She's
Okay,
straight
so
up.
you took this tour with Donnie, and then what happened next?
I did not immediately get hired by Knox Brew Tours because you guys were not hiring at the time. And then some random day in March, I saw on the interwebs that you all were hiring, and I was like, let's see. I like to drive big vehicles. Let's go.
And you do.
Yeah.
You do have a unique passion for driving.
I love to drive. Yeah. I learned how to drive on a Peterbilt 352 cab over when I was 12 years old, 6 and 4 split, and the rest is history.
I was recently on an airport shuttle bus, and I was obsessed. I was like, I want to drive this thing so bad. And I was like, Jacob is the only other person in my life that feels the same way that I do.
You're right.
Just around the block, just once. I just want to drive it just once.
Take
That's
it
all
for
I
a
want.
loop, baby.
Yeah.
Let it
I mean,
roll.
you can. It's just a matter of if you get caught.
Yeah, right.
This is true.
Some airports frown upon that.
Yeah, I'm sure all of them do these days. Seth, what led you to Knox Brew Tours? I mean, how did that what were you doing before that, and what led you to being a part of the team?
Yeah, so I was in the Army, and I was getting out of the Army, and I had zero plans with my life. That's just it's a solid strategy.
Well, and
It's worked for
we
me
don't-
this far.
And we don't have to get into the details, but you were in the Army for a shorter period of time than you were planning on.
Yes. Yeah. So, just to be transparent, I was injured and it was unexpected. Nobody's like, I'm going to go out and get trashed today on this jump. This is going to be sick. We're going to really break some stuff here. So
And
that happened.
you were jumping out of planes.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was doing. And so I got out of the Army, and I didn't really have a plan. I'm a big, fourth and long, throw the ball, Hail Mary kind of guy. I don't really believe in punting. So I was like, I'm going to move to Knoxville, and I'm going to go to law school at the University of Tennessee, because my brother went there, and I'm an idiot. And so I was just, drinking beers, one or two at Schultzbrow, and then I ran into Ace.
Yeah.
And how did that
So
conversation start?
I think I saw you guys at Hops and Hollers before the tour started, and then after I was at Schultzbrow, and you walked up and you're like, "Hey, I saw you were on the tour," and then we started talking. And during this time, I knew that we needed another guide, and you were making me laugh like every other word.
Yes.
So I'm like, you know what? I tell this to everyone who tries to apply for the tours. I can teach you anything that you want to know about brewing, about this industry. What I can't teach is personality.
Yeah.
And you had it in spades. So I was
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, let's do this. So then I had you, your brother, and I think a friend or two. The very next day you came on a tour.
Yeah, you guys took a
and
tour.
Yeah, we did. It was great. It was awesome. I knew immediately. I was like, this is really, really cool. I'd love to be involved. Yeah.
And Coach Steve, that was your name.
Yeah.
And you had this persona and you ran with it the entire time.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing my ass off the whole time. So I was like, yes, please
So-
join our team.
You mentioned the Coach Steve thing.
Yeah,
I got to bring up
Yeah, 100%.
a really quick, funny Knox Brew Tour story. Everybody at Knox Brew Tours goes by a fake name. We use this fake name to protect our identities and to have some fun. In fact, we have a Knox Brew Tours alum and dear friend in the audience, Miss Logan Doyle. I have to say a quick shout out, Logan, because we're so happy you're here, and it's now public knowledge that you're moving away in a couple weeks, and we should have you on the show before you go, if you're interested.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. So I give it up to Logan, former Knox Brew Tours guide and kick-ass brewer. What was your name on the tour? Taquito. Okay. So Logan went by Taquito. I always go by Taco. Ace goes by Ace. Jacob goes by Fluffy. And Seth, why don't you tell us what your tour name is?
Yeah, mine is Steve, like Coach Steve,
Yeah.
So basically, I got there and I was like, putting my lanyard together, and he's like, hey, write your name on there. And so I didn't write like, a Taco Bell themed menu item. Instead, I was like, my name's Seth, dude. Duh. So I wrote it on there, and I walk in, he's like, hey, sir, what's on your name, your lanyard? And I was like, that's my name. And he's like, I get that. So we start the tour, and we just ran with it, and on the spot, I was like, hey, Steve.
Yep, there we go. That's your name. So I have to ask, do you either of you have a favorite Knox Brew Tours story? I did not prepare you for this. So you take a minute if you need one.
Can I tell a horror story?
Sure, I guess.
Oh.
I mean, all bad things happen at some point, but yeah.
So a tour with Taquito over there was this lovely lady that we picked up out in Maryville, way out in the sticks of Maryville, almost Townsend, actually.
Oh, I'm loving the look on Logan's face right now.
She knows. She remembers.
She knows this story.
PTSD flashbacks. Okay, here it is.
She looks traumatized already.
Yeah.
Yeah, this particular
Can we get another
tour-
beer for Logan, please? Thank you.
Yeah, in this particular tour, this one lady would like to just scream woo at the top of her lungs at random times.
Oh, a woo
I
girl.
see where this is going.
A patented woo girl.
And
no.
after the third time of me driving back from Townsend, in a large bus, driving down Alcoa Highway, as we all know, that's been under construction since it was built, and I jerking the wheel. Yeah, I was about to lose my ever-loving mind on this lovely lady. But thankfully, Taquito stepped in and saved the day because the driver was not in the mood. That was one of the worst. Oh,
Okay, yeah. So sometimes private tours can be interesting
good
because,
times.
and I'll talk about this. What ends up happening?
You give an inch.
Well,
They take about 10.
that too, but part of it is that we at Knox Brew
Same.
Tours, we operate very differently than other tour companies.
Right.
So most often what we're fighting is what their expectation of other buses they've done in the past versus ours, and things like this happen. Seth,
for
what
sure.
about you, Ed?
Yeah, the only one that's really standing out to me is, another private tour. And it was a good night. It was my all-time leader in tips. But they were pity tips for sure. They were pity tips to the nth degree. There was a
Also my nickname in high school.
well played. It was good. It was incredible, actually. We were out there on another private tour, and I don't know if you can imagine what a group of testosterone-fueled 19-year-olds from 1987 who happened to grow up and get jobs and become members of the community, but never left that mentality. That's exactly what we're talking about. We get on the bus. These dudes are all named Todd and Brad and Steve, and they're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, brother!" And I was like, "Oh my god!" So we start the tour, and you can't say anything before somebody's like, "Hell yeah, brother!" And I was like, "Did I mention the time I set the Tennessee state record in long jump, brother?" And you're like, "No, man, you didn't." So we start the tour, and dude, at every turn, I'm just trying to tell these guys about beer. And I'm obviously not a beer industry guy per se. I'm more of a blind them, bedazzle them with bullshit if you can't blind them with brilliance kind of guy. And so I'm just trying to get this stuff off. And these dudes are just housing me, and eventually his lovely wife steps up and she's like, "I'm so sorry, here's the $150. Is that good?" And I was like, "It's perfect, honestly." I should have hesitated. No, it's not. I want to be compensated for my pain and suffering.
I will tell you, one of the best tips that I've ever gotten on a Knox Brew Tours tour was Manny and I were working, and at that time, Manny was going by the nickname Julio because that was when the Bruno Mars song just came out. And there's that lyric where it was like, "Julio,
Hey, Julio, get the stretch."
Get the stretch. So he was going by Julio, and I was going by Taco. But whenever we'd work together, because Manny's super fit and I'm not, he would go by Hard Taco, and I'd go by Soft Taco. Because we thought that was hilarious. And we picked this group up out west, and they asked if they could bring a cooler full of water. And we're like, absolutely. So we pick them up, and we got a cooler full of ice cold waters and sodas, all non-alcoholic stuff. We go and do the tour, and we get back to the drop-off point. And when they go to pick the cooler up, they accidentally spill it. And there is just a massive flood of water and ice. which if you've been on our bus is not a problem. Like we've got rugs, it's a bus, we just sweep it out the back door, no big deal.
Right.
But they felt so bad, they gave us $200.
What?
And we were like, that's really, 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 really unnecessary.
It's also water.
Yeah, it was just water. We even took the cooler and put it out the back door and swept all the ice back into the cooler.
Have we thought about making coolers like a full-time kind of thing?
Yeah. So Manny and I were like, well, that's the easiest $100 we've ever made.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah, anyways, things could be worse. Let me ask you guys this. What is the thing that draws you the most to the craft beer community, and more particularly beer and visiting breweries and being a part of telling their story?
Do you want me to start with this one?
Go for it.
Okay. So for me, it's always been the community. Like everyone in the craft beer community as a whole are absolutely fantastic people. And just going to all of the different breweries makes it so much fun. Like since we just started running buses, I just drove a tour for the first time this past weekend.
Yes. Yeah,
so
brother.
so many people were like, Fluffy! Like
Yeah.
so excited to see me. And it's the same. The feeling's mutual. It's the community. It's
I love
so
that.
beautiful.
I'm gonna cry.
I definitely, yeah, man. I think he pretty well hit it on the head. It's the community. It's the weird people you meet. It's walking into a bar and people calling out your name. Hey, jackass! And you're like, what? Stuff like that.
Hey, Steve.
I get
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's awesome though. The community's incredible. Yeah.
You guys got any questions? I mean, I've got tons, but I don't want to take, if you guys get anyone.
Please just go with another one because I'm trying really hard to regroup.
Okay, Jacob. I think this is a question that is specific to you that all of us are wondering and have been wondering since the beginning of this show. Have you ever consumed an alcoholic beverage out of your tuba before?
No.
Okay.
That's
now,
expensive.
They are very expensive.
yes, and I figured that it's bad for the tuba, but that doesn't stop a young
yes.
college kid from doing it.
But also,
No.
can we try it?
No. Not with any of my instruments.
Not your tuba. I'll get another
Well,
tuba.
do you know someone that you don't particularly care for that has a French horn we could steal for a few hours?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, no one likes French horn players.
That's my experience.
I mean, they don't have quite the ego as a trumpet player, but they're close.
Well, get a flugelhorn, whatever.
Here we go. Chuck Mangione, baby.
Y'all are just like leveling my knowledge up, surpassing it with each instrument. I'm like,
This is what happens when you get band geeks together
Yeah.
on a drinking show.
Yeah. And if you watch the YouTube video, you'll see Ace and I over here just going,
Yeah,
Cool.
of course.
That's awesome.
Flugelhorn? Yeah, of
Fantastic.
course.
Did you say flugelhorn?
I think that's what he said.
Yeah, you said flugel.
Aha, there you go.
I didn't make that up either. It's a real
Not
thing.
at all. It is. It's a big trumpet.
Big Trump. Okay. What is the thing about Knox Brew Tours you all miss the most during our shuttered our break our quarantine?
Money.
Take time to think about that answer if you need to.
Not even a beat.
I am a big fan of making money. I work a lot, but no, outside of the compensation that I receive as a Knox Brew Tours employee, no, this is the people, it's the community, because the world shut down, and like I'm missing all of these people that I love to see.
Yeah.
See them occasionally, as we're picking up crowlers at the same place at the same day, but just not the same. We're just a bunch of goofy friends. So.
What about you, Seth?
I'm, just so I'm not saying the exact same thing that you said again. I would say I'll make this one selfish. I'm good at that. I think it's more for me. It's I miss kind of like stepping out of my comfort zone on a regular basis. I think that's good for people. I think it's good to grow and develop that way. And being on Brew Tours, man, it doesn't matter how many times you do it or how comfortable you are with the information. Somebody's always got a question you didn't think about. There's always a new beer. There's something to keep you on your toes, and I miss that.
No,
That's for sure. If you want a job that you can fully prepare for, Knox Brew Tours is not it.
Yeah.
Because people are different. Beers are different. Every day is different, and that's definitely highlighted on the tour. Question that we ask every single show that we've asked from the beginning that we have to finish with today. What is a positive memory that you have from the last year that you'll remember for the rest of your life in regards to the COVID-19 outbreak?
Personal or professional?
What about both?
Yeah, you can do both.
You can do
Seth,
both.
go for it.
Man, so your question, just to make sure that I understand it, what's something that COVID kind of helped me to...
Just 10 years from now, when
Yeah.
you look back on 2020, What's a positive memory or moment or experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think, just being able to spend some time with myself. I know that sounds weird, but you don't really get to do that a lot on a day-to-day basis.
True.
Preach.
Kind of looking inward and realizing, man, there are quite a few things I'm doing well, but more importantly, quite a few things I could be doing a whole lot better. So getting that time to reflect is really good.
A common theme that we've said on the show is it's a break that we all needed, but not necessarily the break we wanted, but definitely the break we needed. Yeah. What about you, Jacob?
To echo Seth, definitely to spend some time with myself and figure out what's important to me. And I am a workaholic, like 100%, and not being able to work all the time is actually really good for me. Like, I'm prioritizing taking trips for myself.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I got a cat.
Yeah.
She's a floofy lady.
What's her name? What's her
cat
name?
for a fluffy man.
cat for a fluffy man. Her name is Piper.
That's a
we adopted her.
beautiful
Let's
name.
plug Scruffy City Cat Cafe over on North Broadway. That's where we adopted her.
That's a real fun space to go. I love that place.
Yeah.
She's
Awesome.
a beautiful girl.
All right. Co-host, anything else that we want to ask Jacob and Seth before we let them go?
Fire away, Ace.
Oh my goodness.
You
Putting
look
me
like
on
you've
the
got one
spot.
just
Let's
right
talk
there on the tip of your tongue.
More about your cat.
Cam definitely wants to know more about the cat. I guess if I had to say, all right, if you had to imagine your ideal person that you would like to have take a tour with you, is there anyone that you would like to be able to have take a brew tour with you that maybe hasn't taken a tour with you yet?
Are we talking about like an imagined person, a real person?
It could be real. It could be like a celebrity that you want to have on the tour with you.
I'd love to have Peyton Manning on a tour because he's a hometown favorite, but also
Yeah.
because I feel like he might ask if every beer is Natty Light. Like, is this one Natty Light? No? Okay. I keep rolling. Omaha. That's it.
Love that. Thank you.
I bet Jacob's favorite tour participant is also his favorite student.
Yes, the ones that come prepared. Yes, the ones that do not ask questions other than what is necessary to be successful. People that I would like to come on a tour that have never been on a tour would be some of the people that have been most influential to me.
Yeah.
My former teachers being like the primary people on that. My father hasn't been on a tour yet, but he will very soon. People like that.
I love that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us, y'all. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
you guys.
We are booking tours left and right and scheduling you all hopefully soon to work them. And so you'll get a chance to see Fluffy and Steve on a brew tour soon. And so thank you guys for your hard work and commitment to the Knoxville beer community. And thanks for being on the show tonight.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Well, I'll drink to that. Cheers.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
All right, folks, we're going to take one more quick little break. When we come back, Ace and I will read off a list of events happening this week you don't want to miss out on this week on tap. And we'll give you a quick teaser who's going to be on the show next week.
Fab.
What are we listening to next, Cup?
Oh, you want to listen to some music?
Yeah.
All righty then. Well, since we don't have a particular brewery represented on the program, I thought it would be a good opportunity to play a great little jam band song from one of my favorite jam bands, Leftover Salmon. This one
yeah.
is called Last Days of Autumn.
Yeah.